Technology. I'm so proud of myself. I thought that I had this all worked out. All right. I am live. It says I'm live. Uh, so I'm live. So I'm going to assume that I'm live and that you're actually there. The technology has shifted somewhat, and it says that I'm live. I had a heck of a time getting it to go, having pre-scheduled it. Anyhow, hello, darlings. Hello, everyone, whoever is there. I'm very grateful. Normally, we have a little thing on the side, a little Facebook Live with your comments. I can't see them. So, hoping you're there, hoping you're all well, and hoping you're able to join me. And if not tonight, perhaps on Samhain, uh, which is just 2 nights away. Remarkable. Oh, look at that. There's Comet. It's on the other side. Hi, Teresa. Good to see you. Oh, and I see there's more. All right. Wonderful. So, the title on this should be somewhere honoring our ancestors. And of course, that is what we have done for countless years since the rebirth of this wise tradition to honor our ancestors. And normally it's not on Samhain, but we're doing it 2 nights early, um, which is not. It's very much in the energy stream of the seasonal shift. We're already well into that wise time, and so I wanted to use this evening to celebrate with you, to honor my ancestors, to honor your ancestors. I'm learning to feel comfortable in this mode of online and to know that we're present with one another and to ritualize in ways that are useful and meaningful and moving. And I'm very grateful that you're here to participate with me. And I'm very grateful for the energies that you bring and for your patience with me as I learn how to make magic in a new medium. I have my notes, of course, uh, because it's always very helpful for me. So I'm just going to work from them and wish you all a welcome. So, uh, the purpose of tonight's office hours is to take note of this extraordinary moment in the seasonal cycle and the turning of the wheel. This is the night everyone says, everyone's learned it, it's everywhere now being said. Um, it's the night where we come to the night, this is the time, because in sacred time, it's outside of time. It's the moment when the veil between the worlds is the thinnest. It's the night when the spirits are able to come and be with us. It's the time when the spirits are able to most easily travel and be with us, when we're most able to sense them, um, to open ourselves to them. Always there is some measure of grief. Over the years, I've learned that grief can be a great emotional barrier for them to be with us and to be able to reach us because we're immersed in saltwater tears. Um, and Samhain becomes an occasion when we are able to mourn and to grieve, but primarily to rejoice because we're able to sense their presence and to be with them and for them to be with us. And so that is ultimately a profoundly joyful uh, experience and occasion. So this is also the time when we enter the dream time, when we seek a dream of new life, when we slumber and seeds rest um, and the shape of something new comes to us. And it's a wonderful time also for past life work. But tonight, I wanted to honor my ancestors. And because we've been in this prolonged period of tragedy and loss and death and sorrow and grieving for the nation, with over 228,000 souls who've crossed over, many of whom should not have gone, went too soon, and would not have gone had things been properly attended to with true concern for everyone's well being. Um, it was very important to me that we take this moment to honor the loved ones who were lost to this virus, because they're part of our community. Almost everyone I know has been affected by this, has been either ill or lost someone or knows someone who's been very ill. But regardless, they are a part of our community. And we're a community that cares. We're a community that knows that we're all connected, and the loss of one is a loss that we all suffer. So I wanted to honor them tonight, uh, and to offer our love, so that they know that they're loved, even by those that they don't know, and that that love is offered to them, um, because it is a part of the work that our ancestors always did, was to accompany the souls of those who've crossed over so that they find their way into realms of peace. And as my grandmother's parents, my grandparents on my mother's side, would have said, may their memories be a blessing. And may their spirits also be a call to our awakening so that no more lives are lost needlessly. I also wanted to in this time to honor and to call upon the spirits of our founding fathers and mothers, those who had the astonishing magic and vision to create this remarkable democracy, to be with us in this difficult time when our democracy is perhaps at great risk. So I wanted to honor their spirits that reside within our institutions and our Constitution, and to hope that they will be with us and empower us and light the way. So I spent the afternoon preparing and, in fact, beginning to work. And I set up my ancestor altar on the altar behind me in this place where I do my work and I do my readings and consultations. And so you will see what is there. I'll share it with you. And this is a moment to take, if you wish, to set up your altar. So you can take a moment. We sent out an emailing. Or you can simply sit and participate by being with me with the altar that I've created, which contains elements for those that I don't know, as well as those that I know and love and have lost. Uh, and if you want to take a moment to set yours up, please do. So on my altar, I'll explain while perhaps you're doing that, is a portrait of my mother. You can see it framed right there. I had it recently reframed to do it justice. It was painted of her when she was a young woman by a famous Latin American artist called Guayasamín, who was in love with her, and she had rejected him. So this is quite a romantic moment in my mother's life that I loved the story of. He painted her a little angry because she had rejected him, but still beautiful in her unique way. So I put her portrait there, and it will hang in my office. I will hang it later. And I have a photograph of my father shortly after he retired, sailing a boat that belonged to friends of my parents. It had just been built, and he sailed it uh, back from the west coast of Florida down around the tip and up the Atlantic coast. And it was apparently a hell of a journey, pretty rough, which is one reason, I don't know if you can see, he looks kind of grumpy. But it was an important journey for him to make. And I think in part gave him peace about the life that he had at home and not at sea. And that boat has a role to play uh, in my father's, after my father had died. And if there's time tonight, because one of the things that you do at a sound circle is to share stories. So I'll share that one with you if there's time. There's a box there, a very special onyx box that my mother kept on her dresser. And after she died, I looked in it and it was full of odds and ends. It's such a beautiful, magical box. I always thought it was full of magic as a child. And after she died, I looked in and it had sewing bits and odds and ends of things, a lot of which are still in there, and to which I added my own. And there's a picture of my father's side of the family in Michigan, way back at the turn of the last century, and a portrait of my grandmother and grandfather on my mother's side when they were young, and he looks quite dapper in his straw boater. And there's a picture of my Aunt Vera, who was my mother's best friend from when they were both 16 and went to Barnard College and became the closest of friends and lived in the same town when they had married and had children. And she took she was my aunt who was incredibly important to me after my mother passed away. Always important all my life, but especially so afterwards. And she passed away recently at 100. She was over 100 when she died. I think she was approaching 102. Remarkable, just the most inspiring woman, young until the very end, because she was always living life to the fullest. So her lesson, her legacy to all of us and to me, and a picture of my mother and father when they were very young and first in love. And behind me, I don't know if you can see it, at the base of my mother's portrait is the New Yorker cover that honors Justice Ginsburg, who we've lost. Um, there's a statue that you may be able to see in the multiple rings that I put there that was given to my maternal grandparents by friends of theirs who did the grand tour in Europe and brought this bust back from Italy, I think from Florence, for my grandparents shortly after their wedding. Um, and my dad hated it, but my mom loved it, and I love it, and I have it here. He said it reminded him of his stepmother. So, and there are other things on the altar that are very personally meaningful to me and that connect me to my ancestors, to my grandparents, and to their relatives, and to the web of family that I am most immediately connected to, that I know of, and knowing that they in turn were connected to their grandparents and great grandparents, about whom I know less, but am nonetheless here because of. Um, so, also on the altar, kind of behind me there, you see the skull of the stag, representing the wisdom of this season, of the wheel turning and the leaving of the spirit leaving the body and entering realms of spirit. And the pomegranate, there are branches from a pomegranate tree with pomegranates hanging from them, which is the symbol of Persephone, the Greek goddess of the underworld, but also the goddess of rebirth, which is the mystery and the magic that we are particularly privileged to participate in this spiritual tradition. So, and I have also my chalice, which I've had for many, many years, my silver cup, into which I've put charged waters of life, which is my offering to the spirits of my parents, who both of whom have passed over far too long ago. It's been a long time, and I miss them very much. And so I have this as an offering for them. And it's a symbol of my love as well, and theirs for me, and the womb of the goddess, which is the womb of rebirth. And I also have a candle, which I'm going to light in a moment, my drum, which I will make use of briefly when we work together tonight. And I normally have a tool of divination with me so that I can use it to speak with the spirits that have come. And I have already pre-selected a card from my new tarot deck created with Danielle Barlow, the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. And I have chosen a card from that, and I want to share it with you this evening. It's the Ancestor card, so we have that. So I'm going to cast a little circle, and I hope you'll just join me. I'm going to use my very old shamanic rattle, which is very precious to me, and I'm not going to get up and move around because that would be difficult, so I will do it seated so you can see. And I'm using the rattle because the energy will carry through sound. to include you in the circle. So I will do it very, very simply, just by honoring the four directions above and below and the center. I won't speak. I'm just going to rattle. All right, I'm going to rattle in welcoming to our ancestors, to call them to the circle so they hear the sound and come. And this is the east here, so I will start in the east. I think my camera is reversed. Forgive me, I'm technically deficient. So this is now my east. And the south. And the west, the direction of the ancestors. And the north, where the mystery dwells. And back again to the east where we began. And to the sun above. And the earth below. And to the center, where all things are one. And so our circle is cast. So tonight, when the veil between the worlds is thinning, when it rises, and we are able to see and to visit, let us open our hearts, which is where all things are one, and where our ancestors live forever, and let us open our circle. In this time, outside of time, in this place, between the worlds, let our hearts call out to our ancestors, to those we love, to those who dwell on the other side of the veil. Let us ask them to be with us, to speak with us, to rest with us, to advise us, to celebrate with us the love and the spirit that survives, even as the forms of life do change. May the goddesses and the gods, the spirits of death and rebirth, guide them. May Hecate Phosphorus, goddess of magic and transformation, who guides all those who pass through the realm of spirits. May Persephone, queen of transformation, of underworld and rebirth, may Hades, master of time and the realm of spirits, guide them. May love guide them to this circle of honoring and remembering. And so we create an opening in the west. Which is the direction of our ancestors, where the sun sets and where the spirits dwell. And we welcome them to be with us and to light their way in the coming to be one with us. If you have a candle, this is the time to light it. with all the love within our hearts, that it should light their way to returning to be with us. I'm going to put it on the altar behind me. Forgive me for getting up, turning my back on you. And so it's the time. It comes slowly. They come slowly. The portal opens, the veil lifts, and gradually we become aware of their presence with us. So I'm reaching over for a drum. This is the moment, the time, the space between the worlds, outside of time, to welcome those that we love and have lost, to welcome our ancestors who have wisdom and love to share with us as we have to share with them. And so I'm just going to do a simple heartbeat for a few minutes to help deepen our awareness and our sensitivity to their presence. And as I'm drumming, you can close your eyes and just allow yourself to feel the veil lifting and parting, and to feel the presence of loved ones coming to be with you. You will feel perhaps the pele d'oca, the duck skin, the goosebumps with their presence, or a gentle breeze, or a sense of love, of warmth around you, of your heart opening. You may be moved to cry, but it's an occasion for gratitude and for joy. And that is what you will feel above all, is their joy in being with you, and their love for you, and their gratitude that you have called to them and lit a candle to light their way, and created a circle into which they can come to be with them, to be with you. And so just welcome them, and I'll just drum, all right? And I'm going to drum in the traditional manner on this night of the heartbeat. to turn this to its place where it rests. Oh, I was flooded with memories that suddenly became very alive, and I had a keen sense of how much they have missed me, because it's been a while since I've done this kind of circle and welcoming. But they've been with me, and I'll share a story with you in a little while about how. Um, Typically, I would use, as I mentioned, a divination tool to speak and to receive messages, to ask for advice, uh, to ask what they had to share with me, and so you may want to do that on Saturday night when you have the opportunity to do a circle by yourself or with some others. And I'm going to share with you the card from the Witch's Wisdom Tarot, which is so meaningful tonight, right? So I will hold it there so you can see it. This is the ancestor who I asked Danielle to portray her in the likeness of grandmother Reader, who was one of the indigenous grandmothers with whom I had a very profound number of adventures, and who gave me a blessing that I still treasure and will always treasure. So here she is. And you will notice, right, that she is holding a vine of climbing roses, a briar rose, and that there are thorns that prick, and there is blood that has fallen upon the snow, but the roses are blooming, and she's smiling. Grandmother Rita was Yupik, so it was from Alaska. And so I want to read to you the wisdom of the ancestor card, which is the wisdom of the ancestors. And I think a message that all of our ancestors, a teaching from the spirit of ancestor who I encountered in my journey, and who for this card, it takes the place of the devil card, quite appropriately so, since there is no devil in Witch's Wisdom. And she had tremendous love and compassion and a blessing, and I want to share that with you. So I'm going to read it. And I guess I probably don't need my glasses for this. So the ancestor, she asks, how many silver threads connect you to life? They emerge from your heart, an unfurling path full of promises, a path that shimmers like a mirage of the future, then fades from view. Is your quest for your true purpose merely an illusion? Have you come to an impasse imposed by an unseen past, or have you found the wisdom way forward? Cobwebs bind you to those who have gone before. Grandmother, grandfather, generations long gone haunt and pull, whisper and advise. Stories of the past live in the present and forecast the future. The path spirals forward, then circles back, marked with drops of blood, drawn by the sharp thorns of ancestral patterns. Each generation inherits the wounds of their lineage, has their dreams confined by conditioning, finds their desires entangled in roses planted long ago, roses that pierce and prick, but also perfume the air with promise and potential. Appeal to Hecate Phosphorus, goddess and guide through the underworld, through the realms of spirits. Offer prayers to the ancestors to guide you through the darkness and to the gold. An ancestor hears us. She hears you and responds, for she knows the magic and will joyfully share it. There's a blessing in the family curse. Hecate's burning torch is held aloft. The shining key to the ancient dungeon is inside the cell. Lift it from its place and honor your forebears. They are the reason you are here. The door swings open, the path appears, and you emerge, bringing treasure to the world. The ancestor gives her blessing, and she says, the past is not a burden. It is the gift of those who have gone before and brought you to this day. Accept their blessing and forgive the rest. You are free to be who you are meant to be and to create your own life. Make your magic. The essence of the card is family and continuity, the inheritance of patterns, past trauma, and forgiveness and gratitude, and ancestral blessings. And there's a counsel that goes with it. The ancestor appears to pose the question. The ancestor appears to pose the question. I want to put her in front of you. And she has remarkably disappeared. How fascinating. Ha! That's remarkable. That's really fascinating, everybody. The image has disappeared. All right, I'll keep reading. I guess that's what I'm meant to do. The ancestor appears, and right now disappears, but poses the question. Why are you here? Perhaps you've just been passing time and letting life pass you by. It's time to ask yourself, which way do I want to go from here? If you ask the ancestor for advice, she will tap her chest and say, you have to follow your heart. And then she will tap her head and remind you, too much following this. It makes the way easier, but it won't make you happier. So, reflect on the choices you've made. See the unconscious patterns of childhood, the ways of coping with the traumas and the sorrows you inherited from your parents who inherited them from theirs. And see that all the thorns protect the roses. See the secret gifts that you've inherited and the powers you've cultivated that will serve your unique purpose now. It's time to follow your own inner compass through life. No one can tell you which way to go, and no one can stop you from finding your own way. So, go forward and trust your heart. And there's a magic, of course, that goes with it. And it's Samhain magic, and it's the magic that we are doing now. That is the card's counsel. That is the ancestors' counsel of how to make the transformation and the shift. We make our ancestral altars. We decorate them with our offerings, with fruits and flowers and things of beauty and nourishment and remembering. And in the center, we place the pictures of our ancestors, the grandmothers and the grandfathers, the parents, the relatives, the loved ones, the ones with 4 legs and fur, by Webster's on that altar, who have gone before us and who will greet us when it is our time to cross to the other side. And we lit the candle to light their way so that we could see their love, that we could feel their love, and they could see and feel ours. And so you should gaze upon their faces and upon the blessings and feel their presence with you. And you should reflect on their sorrows and their successes, their stories and the lessons that they taught you, good and not so good, because both have meaning and both have value and both have purpose, thorns and roses. And it's time to thank them for both, to forgive them, and to honor them, and to forgive, and to honor ourselves. It is time to feel gratitude for the gift of life that they have given you, that my ancestors, my grandparents, my parents have given me. And I want them to know in this time, in this place, that is not a time that is between the worlds, that is always one, how much love and how much gratitude I have to them. And you will feel them withdraw when it's time for them to leave tonight or Saturday. When the time has come for them to depart, they may linger in dreams or signs or synchronicities or messages that come in other ways. And as you feel them withdraw, thank them for being with you. And you can chant, we all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return, like a seed of life, dreaming deep within the earth. And when you're ready, you close the portal in the west. And you drink something, which I will do before I close the portal in the west. And before I close the portal, because I feel the lingering presence, and normally we would take more time in the quiet being in presence. But I want to do it with you this evening by sharing this story that I don't share very often. This is the time to do it. I don't know if I will tell all of it, because over the years it has become longer as the tapestry has woven itself with recurrence. But it is extraordinary, and Samhain is the time to tell it, because it's a story of dying and the veil lifting and the messages and the spirits returning. So it's a story of comfort and connection and love. And so I want to share it with you because it is heartbreaking to lose those that we love. And it's frightening to contemplate death. And it is a great mystery. And I don't claim to know how it works or why it works, but it does work. And I know that while the form changes, the spirit continues. And it continues in a coherent manner. It doesn't dissolve. The energy of the person does not disappear and dissolve. It continues. And it is able to cross the veil and to be with us. And my expectation is that I will receive again the message that comes periodically to reassure me that my parents are aware and with me and love me and watch over me and will be with me when I need them. And so this is part of the story. Anyway, it begins many, many years ago when I was still a young witch and had only been practicing for about 3 years or so, 2, 3 years. And my father had been very ill and ultimately passed away. And he died in January and was cremated. And we had his ashes at home, in my childhood home. And in the spring, my mother said, it's time, and I want to scatter your father's ashes. And so we went out on the boat that he brought back from Florida. This friend of the family captained the boat. We went out and here at the east end of Long Island, where I now live, out into this Gardiner's Bay out by the ocean. And we scattered his ashes. He had asked, he told us that when he wanted a Viking's funeral. My father was Norwegian. He wanted a Viking's funeral. So he wanted us to put him in an old sailboat and shoot flaming arrows at it so that he would be cremated at sea. So that wasn't possible. So he was cremated, and then we took his ashes to scatter them at sea. And so the moment came, and we emptied the ashes into the ocean. I should say my father was a sailor. He had gone to sea at the age of 12. his father was a captain. My father was a seaman. He helped found the National Maritime Union, served in the Navy, was a lieutenant in the Navy, served in the volunteered and served in the Merchant Marine during the Second World War. Um, Finally came to sea during the 50s after I was born. And um, so it was what he wanted, it was who he was, and we honored his wishes. And um, later that night, we went home, and I went into my childhood bedroom, and my mother went into her room, and I went in to hug her, and she was crying, and it was the first time since the 6 months. I'm sure she had cried when I wasn't there, that I saw her cry. And she said it was beautiful and it was what we were supposed to do. Only I wish that we had said something. I feel like we should have had a eulogy. We should have said something. I hugged her and I went back into my room, and a little voice almost immediately said, "Open the book on your night table." It was a little paperback book that some guest who had stayed in my room had left. I don't remember the title of it now, but I was enough of I had enough witchy skills to listen to the voice. I opened it, and it opened to the first page, um, and I read it, and I will undoubtedly now mangle it a bit, but it was from Shakespeare's The Tempest, and it said, "5 fathom deep thy father lies. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him doth remain, but does suffer a sea change into something wild and strange." Sorry. Um, so I took the book and I went into my mother's room and I said, "I think I found Dad's eulogy." And she read it and she cried. Um, and she hugged me and she said, "Yes, that's his eulogy." Sorry, guys. So, about whatever, 4 or 5 months later, it was Samhain, and I was with my journeying circle. It was the first one to come out of the Brooklyn group, came out of Michael Horner's work. And at Samhain, we journeyed to visit with the spirits of those who had passed, and I journeyed to visit with my father. And my grandfather appeared, who I hadn't seen since I was teeny tiny. He had died at 70 of a heart attack, and he appeared, and he said, "Your dad's okay, but he isn't ready to visit. He's not, he's not ready. He doesn't have the skill set," basically, he was communicating. Um, but he's going to send you a message because he wants you to know that he's all right. So he's going to send you a message, and you shouldn't worry. He's fine, and he loves you very much. And I came back and was happy that I'd received a message that he was well, that he loved me, and that he would send me a message. But I was sad that I hadn't seen him. We closed our circle and went to hear some musicians, some pagan musicians, who were performing nearby at the Ethical Culture Society in Brooklyn, and beautiful building on the park. And they were not so great, and people were chatting, and it was kind of noisy while they were performing. And okay, and then the lead singer in the group approached the microphone and said, I don't know why, but I feel compelled to perform this song. It's not done. So it's really not ready to be performed, but I'm feel pushed that we're gonna perform it tonight. I feel like we're supposed to sing this song. So please bear with us, but we hope you like it. And he stepped back, and they started to play, and the tune was beautiful. And it was sort of the first time that the audience quieted down, and everybody was paying very careful attention. And he stepped back up to the microphone, and he started singing. And I cannot remember the tune now for the life of me, but the words I will never forget, because he began to sing, 5 fathom deep thy father lies, those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him doth remain, but does suffer a sea change into something wild and strange. Huh. So, uh, so, what we do is true and real, and those we love us and are with us and have other things to occupy their time in a non-time way with, but are there when we need them and need us to remember and to love them. That message came to me again and again and again at extraordinary moments in extraordinary ways, which I'll save for another time. But over the years, at the most critical moments, and most often when I was very distraught and thinking of them also, and longing for them and missing them, because my father died before I turned 30, and my mother died when I was, 44. So I've been an orphan a long time. Um, and that message comes when I most need it. And most recently, I'll share the last one, the most recent one, although I suspect there'll be one tonight or soon thereafter. As a lot of you know, it was discovered in the spring that I had a hole in my heart. We all have holes in our hearts when we're in utero, when we're in the womb, because it's how the oxygen, because our lungs aren't working until we emerge from the womb, it's how oxygen passes from the mother into us and through our bodies. It moves through the heart and circulates through our bodies. So, and then when you're born, it closes. And lo and behold, it turned out I was diagnosed a bunch of dreadful tests, and we found that I had a hole in my heart. And they rushed as much as they could, as many of you know. And I went into surgery in the middle of July, and they put the blue butterfly, which is what was shown to me in my journey by Bear before the night before the surgery. Put his finger up and he put his finger in my heart. Then he lifted his finger and a blue butterfly landed on it. And he put his finger back in my heart. And it fluttered its wings and then wrapped itself around and became this very blue, then luminous crystal that closed the hole in my heart. And as I was getting ready for surgery, the night before and the morning of, I got very nervous. It could have been a much harder and more dramatic surgery, but it was, things happen. My dad had gone in for a simple surgery and terrible things had happened. Um, so I was anxious, and despite that marvelous journey, I was nervous. I was afraid, that I wouldn't survive. I felt that I would, but I was also scared that I wouldn't. And right before the surgery, I asked if I could see what they were going, the little device that they were going to put to close the hole, and the doctor brought it over to me on the tray. And the way it was closed, it looked like it was blue, and it was 2 round circles that looked like butterfly wings. And I could feel it when he put it in my heart, because you're awake, and my heart little flutter, and I still have a little flutter, which has abated mostly. When I got out of the surgery and finally got through the worst of the post recovery, which lasted about 8 hours, and was feeling better and was able to move and eat a little something and get up, and I was still a pretty altered state, but I had brought a magazine, a New Yorker, with me, and had started this article. It was a review of a book, the name of which I can't remember, by an author, the name of whom I can't remember. And I was like, why am I reading this? I'm not interested in the book. I'm not really interested in the author. It's kind of a well-written review, but why am I reading this? And the little voice was like, no, just keep reading. And I'm reading along. It was a long review. And suddenly they're talking about what a skillful writer he is. And here's an example from this book. And And my eye goes up to the column, the next column, to read what the excerpt from the book, which is the shining example of prose. And it's 5 fathom deep, thy mother lies. Those are pearls that were her eyes, etc. So, my darlings, my dear ones, my companions in circle in this extraordinary adventure, um, my loved ones who've passed over, whom I miss so much, and who I know watch over me, but and 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 I'm so grateful for that. I am grateful for thorns and roses and all the blessings, the sacrifices that you made, um, to give me the life that I have. I hope I've honored you with what I've done with it. I know it's a strange path that you would not have expected me to take, but it's a good one. And I know that you would be proud. And I know that those of you who have loved ones who've passed know that they are proud of you, as you walk your path. There's a reason that we're here now. There's a role that we have to play. There's a reason that we were born of the ancestors, whose thread is woven around our hearts, our souls, our beings. Um, and they give us blessings. And for those blessings and for the greatest blessing, which is the life that we have for as long as we have it, that we should honor it and cherish it. And in doing that, we honor and we cherish them. And so I give my thanks for that long and beautiful spinning silver thread and all of its blessings. And for the thorns that make us stronger and the roses that give us joy. And I love them. I love you all for sharing this with me. And I hope it was good for you. And we'll give you something to work with if you want to do this yourself on Samhain night when the moon, the great blue hunter's moon, is full. And so I close the portal in the west. Knowing that the messages go to and fro, just as the love does. And offer a final prayer. May all those who have passed find peace. May all those who have lost loved ones find peace. May our nation find peace. And may our world find peace. May we help bring peace. So thank you for sharing this rite with me, for sharing my ancestors and my stories with me. And I will close the circle. And I thank you all for sharing this evening and this rite with me. And I send you all Samhain blessings and blessings of the grateful moon. And I send you forth with two wishes for you. Vote, 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 vote. If you're voting by absentee ballot or mail, do not put it in the mail. Take it to the box or the election officials, and wear your mask. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. All right, darlings, love you all. See you in a lunar cycle. Have a glorious Samhain, and be well, be healthy, stay safe. Love you all. Blessings.